Jermaine Dupri is 1,000% correct. Watch this.
You can't win a game by yourself. You can't be the center and everybody else got a whole team out there. I get it. I understand going independent. But if you're going to be independent, you got to have a team. Mm-hmm. You can't be independent and just be you and your homeboy and y'all believe y'all going to win. It's people out here with full teams.
Yeah.
And you're playing against them. You're not playing against the DSP. I think that's what, these people have it confused. You're going up against somebody who has a full team. Drake has a full team around him. Kendrick Lamar has a full team on the field. You walk out there with you and your homeboy, you're going to get your ass beat. That's what I'm talking about. Bad.
Bad, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Historical.
That's just what it is. And people don't view it like that. They think that this is just the music business. If they give a record to Sway, yeah, Sway will play it. Mm-hmm. But then Sway's going to have somebody else that come the next day that got a team.
Yeah,
that's telling Sway to play it. They hitting Heather. They hitting everybody in this room, right? That's 5 more times than what y'all just did when y'all came. Mm-hmm. And you can't win the game without a team. You know what I mean? You got to have a quarterback. You got to have a center. You got to have somebody go out there, wide receivers. You got to have that.
Got to have some blockers too.
Yeah, you got to have some blockers.
Man, I'm gonna tell you that hits home to me. And I know a lot of you guys think that you can do a lot of stuff on your own. Especially for a lot of you people who want to be independent. Because that's the big thing right now. Everybody wants to be independent. Everybody wants to control everything. I get it. However, when you go against another artist or another entity that has a team, well, that's a hard thing to go against. And I've been through it. I have been through it because I thought that I could just do it by myself, or like how Jermaine Dupri said, with my homeboy or somebody like that who didn't really know much about music or know pretty much anything about the music business. And I lost badly. And it kind of reminds me of a time when I was in college. When I was in college, when I was doing music, I was pretty much doing everything by myself. I was doing everything by myself. I was recording, I was producing. The artists would come in. All they had to do was just complete the song, and then from there, I took care of everything. I took care of the flyers. I took care of the CDs. I took care of everything. I even took care of selling the CDs. I thought I could do everything on my own. Just like how Master P, selling it out the trunk. Trying to get it out the hard way, out the mud. And I actually left a lot of stuff on the table because while me out here trying to do everything on my own, my other homeboys, they had a team. They had 10, 15 people out there selling CDs at one time. They had one person doing the flyers, one person pressing the CDs, another person that was just the mixer who was just mixing the songs, another person who was helping the rappers kind of like get everything together, another person doing the promotions around the city. They had all of that. And they had 5, 6 different people doing different things at one time. And I'm out here at Kinko's like, okay, need to get these flyers done, need to get these CD covers done. Oh, I need to go buy some CDs. Oh, I got to go back to the house and burn these CDs, even though these things are going to take 15 minutes a piece. Oh, my goodness, I got to do the artwork. I got to do everything. I had to do everything. And I got left behind in a sense. Now, I made it out. But I would have made a bigger impact if I actually had a team. And I continuously kept doing that until finally I met somebody, one of my homeboys, who was like, yo, you can't do everything by yourself. You're going to need some people around you to help you out. So even though I really didn't really trust people with doing anything, because I'm always one of the people that say, hey, man, like nobody's not going to do it better than you. And I kept thinking that. But the thing about it is, when you get the right team around you, things go so smoothly. I had to learn this while in college when I had to get somebody. I was like, okay, well, we have to do bio. So my homeboy was like, hey, find somebody who's good in English. Get somebody who's an English major that's good. We found a girl who was really good. She would write our bios. So I was like, cool, what about, somebody doing the artwork? Okay, find somebody who does art real good at school, who can draw. They can do our artwork. Instead of sending stuff off to Pen and Pixel, which they were the ones who did all the Masterpiece stuff and pretty much all the down south CD covers and stuff, have somebody draw it out, or have somebody that knows how to use the computers, which they did have, computers. We did do graphics and stuff at that time. Find somebody who can do some decent graphics, and we just pay them. So we did that, and it came out better. Then we needed somebody to really kind of like keep somebody in control of all the artists, how they dressed and how they, how they did that. And we found somebody for that. And we found all of this right at our college. Then I found somebody to help me to record. Like I taught somebody to help record, and we had people in there recording. And if I couldn't do it, then somebody else could do it. It really helped out. And from that point, it really showed like, okay, we can really do this as a collective team. Now, don't get me wrong. We had to go through a few people because some people seemed like they were team players, but they really were not. They were just trying to say like, oh yeah, I can go out and do this and do that. But then they ain't lift a finger and do nothing, and they would complain about a lot of stuff. So one thing about having a team is you got to find out who is really going to be a team player. Okay, like they were saying, you need a quarterback, you need a center, you need blockers, because you're gonna need people to block things from the outside coming in. You're gonna need that. You're gonna need wide receivers, somebody who can catch the plays and run with them the right way. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you're gonna have to have people who you can trust to do this, and that's one of the hardest parts is actually finding people to actually do this. But over time, once I started developing that type of mindset, I started noticing different traits in people, and I can find, okay, this person can work for this, or this person can work for that. And then for all the years that I was doing that, it all came to a head when I actually had my biggest song. And then from that point, from the jump, I was trying to find people to be on that team because I knew that I could not do it by myself. Okay. When I did Watch Me Whip, Watch Me Nay Nay, I was a producer, and I knew that I could not do everything by myself. Now, the cool thing about it is Silento's aunt and uncle, they were there. They were very present. They were very cool. He had a lawyer that was very good at what she did. I had my lawyer. He was very good at what he did. And then we had some people that had some outside help that helped us out, like especially my booking agent. He was very good because at first I was trying to book shows and everything, and it was just too much for me to do. And I ended up finding a booking agent, and he did a phenomenal job by basically starting us at a rate. And then after a while, we just kept kind of going up in price. And then we was doing certain shows. He would negotiate everything. He was starting to do all the logistics and everything. We would sit on the phone for an hour or two and just do all the logistics for the hotels and everything and what we're going to do for the month and all that stuff like that. Then we would, break down certain things. And then after a while, we end up getting the deal. And then we had a bigger team, especially over at Capitol. So things got a little bit smoother, even though we were still kind of running it in an independent type of a way. And one thing I can say is the reason why a lot of artists win, especially when they are signed artists, is because of the team that the record label gives them. Okay? Now, every artist does not get huge when you sign that deal. And some of the reasons why that a lot of artists kind of fall back is because a lot of artists don't trust the team that the label kind of gives them, and they don't kind of trust the direction that the label gives them, okay? A lot of times these labels sign you, and then they'll give you suggestions on, hey, what about trying this or what about trying that? And a lot of times these artists, and sometimes the artist's current team will say, no, we're not doing that. We're going to do it this way. Not knowing that these are people that have been inside of these offices and seen hundreds of artists come through those doors, and maybe 5 of them become superstars because they listened to what was going on. Because one thing about it is the players in the music game change, but the music game never really changes. Okay? It never really changes because you are dealing with people's emotions. You're dealing with the consumer's emotions on how they love this artist, how they feel this artist, how can they connect with this artist. That's what you're dealing with in the music business, and that hasn't changed since the beginning. So when you have a team like that and they're giving suggestions, they're saying, hey, do this and do that, it doesn't mean you have to say yes to everything, but sometimes maybe negotiate and say, okay, we'll do this, but how about we do this? And you work as a team. You work as a team. And that's one thing I can honestly say about all of this. There are a lot of you guys right now who feel that you can do everything on your own. You feel like you can just go out and do everything. You feel like you can make all the phone calls. You feel like you can make all the music. You feel like you can take upon all the tasks of what you can, what you need to do to get your career on that level. And that's simply not it. You are dealing with labels that have a person in every single department to handle something while you're trying to take care of all of that. And they have all the resources. And even if you are dependent and you need to get yourself out there, you need to hire a PR, which you might need to hire a very respected PR, somebody who has relationships that can help you out. And that goes down to even people doing videos, people doing your marketing, your managers, people that's doing your recording, people doing your mixing. All of that stuff matters. You cannot do everything on your own. Now, I know some of you artists can go out here and record yourself and mix yourself pretty good, but sometimes you may need somebody to master it. So you need somebody in your team that's a really good mastering engineer. You need all of that to be successful. If you want to get on the radio, you're going to have to get a radio promoter or a radio consultant, somebody that can be on your team to help get your songs on the radio. And the list goes on. You cannot do everything by yourself and expect to compete against other artists who have all of that stuff already. Because, yeah, you can go out there and you can make a little hit on TikTok or whatever, but after that, once it gets to that next point, you're going to need people to help you out to get you in certain places that you can't get yourself into. Or when you get yourself into these certain places, you know what to say and you know what to do while you're there. And then a good thing about it is if you get a good team around you, it's less stress on you. Okay, there's a lot of artists that are stressed out by doing so much stuff, and the music industry is stressful anyway, even when you do have a good team, but it will at least bring the stress down just a bit. Because if you're trying to take care of everything, sometimes you'll stress yourself out to where you just don't want to do anything at all, okay? You might have to regroup, and sometimes that regroup phase can take weeks, months, and even years sometimes. So if you get a good team around you that can take the load off you, it makes everything so much better. And hearing this coming from Jermaine Dupri, he's one of the people that I highly respect because he's one of the few people that have taken artists from zero and took them to the top, and he's done it over and over and over again. And that's something that every artist should be able to respect, especially what he's done for the music industry, because I really feel like he does not get the flowers that he really should be getting because he has really done so much for this industry and continues to do it to this day. So with him saying that, I definitely can 100% agree with what he's saying. I went through this with the 3 label situations I went through, and every time that we got a solid team, things went so much smoother. Now, you do have to find the right people. Now, that's the problem. But once you find the right people, I'm telling you, things are going to go so much better.